some of you doubt. Why do you doubt at times? Do you ever think about, wow, I have doubt. I'm doubting now. And why do you doubt? Why do you have doubt at times? Oh, let's go here.
It just seems to me like everything's stacked so heavily against a believer that it's hard to have faith. It looks like we're going to lose.
Yeah. And when you say that everything is stacked against you, give me an example of what you mean. And this is related to you personally, your own life.
Yeah.
Give me an example of what you mean.
There's a lot of wickedness in the world.
Yeah.
And they like the company of each other. And so most good men are going to be standing alone. So you're going to find yourself by yourself a lot. And so it to me, it just looks like it's all, it appears, I don't know if it really is, but it appears like where there's a stacked deck.
Oh, okay. And that makes you doubt.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at the circumstances, it makes you doubt. Is it that way in your personal and private life as well? You feel like
yes,
life is just stacked against you and it's hard to believe?
Well, it's not that, like I said, I'm not sure if it really is. It just looks really good like it is.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if it is or not.
Yeah.
But it just looks that way, you know, and it gets, after a long time I can see how somebody might not believe it. I have doubts. I go, this can't be right. It just can't be. It's like impossible. But
do you believe that it's possible to live a life of no doubt?
Yes.
Just total belief?
Yes.
You believe that's possible?
Yes.
That's good. Because if you believe it's possible, it will happen. At least you don't doubt that it's possible. You just don't know how to get there, or it's not happening right now. Oh, okay. How about you have that? Come right here. What causes you to doubt at times?
The cause is just no reason. Just the thought will come and say, well, it can't be that easy. You should be really doing this, that, and the other, and you're not making enough effort. You should be this, you should be that. And so then I think, well, maybe I'm not trying hard enough. So then sit down and try to hunker down, and then, so, you know, that.
What a mess, huh?
Yes, it's like a mess. You're like, what can you do? You know, you're torn in the middle, you know.
When thoughts come to say you're not doing enough, you're not this enough, why do you think that's your friend telling you that? Why do you think it's giving you the right advice?
Well, I don't really think it's the right advice, but then I don't really know, so I think, well, maybe maybe I should entertain this.
And have you ever tested those thoughts, when they give you suggestions and you find out they were wrong? That it wasn't?
Yeah.
And yet you still believe again?
Well, it's not a belief or a non-belief. It's
Well,
just
when you
that
go with them, you are believing.
Oh, you think that's it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay, then I
Because if you didn't finally cave in and believe,
yeah.
It couldn't affect you. It couldn't make you deceive you in that manner.
Oh, okay. So I keep getting pulled off. You know, once you get attached over here, then all of a sudden it comes along and pulls you off. Pulls me off. And
Jesus said that if we believed, if we have belief as small as a grain of mustard seed, right, that we can move mountains in our lives.
Oh, okay. So
that all things are possible, that nothing on earth can stop you. Do you believe that?
Yes, I believe it when it's over there, but I just haven't gotten it over here.
I understand. You and so, go back.
Oh, go back. Oh.
Yeah. And so you do believe it when you hear it?
Yes, I believe it's possible. I mean, I can see the machinations of everything going as it should in the universe. And then it's everything looks good, everything looks possible. You wake up in the morning, you got all the hope, you know it's going to work right. And then as the day progresses, you're like, oh.
I can see you doing that too, Mary. Like a little girl. Let me ask, so why do you believe it's possible then if you don't believe that you can do it?
Well, I believe it's possible because
Because
The God's word says it so, and in my heart I can see it is true.
yeah, can you imagine living a life of 100% belief? Just imagine what that must be like.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, that it seems like it's so easy, it can't really work.
It seems as though it's so easy it can't work.
Yeah,
Where you getting that from? That idea?
just the same place the devil comes and
Yeah, he's like, it's
taps
too
you on the
easy.
shoulder.
Oh, that is something. And what do you say to that?
Well, I agree with what she's saying. Circumstances come in your life, and then you have all these thoughts that sort of run you down
Yeah,
and take away any belief you have.
yeah. Have you noticed that the one thing that all human beings have in common is these thoughts, are these thoughts that we get, and then the effect that they have on our lives and stuff like that. And yet, that's not enough to say, well, look, if the crowd is going this way, something must be wrong with the way I'm thinking here. And it's not working for the crowd. What make you think? What make me think it's going to work for me? We all have that in common. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
And yet, you still go with that. You believe in God, right?
Of course.
Right. So you believe that it's possible to live a life with no doubt,
Yes.
but you just don't know how to get there to do it.
Well, I think the thoughts are strong, and there might be some element of truth in the thoughts,
Uh-huh.
and that's what pulls you and grips you to those thoughts.
Yes, good point. Because what Satan would do, and I have to just say, those thoughts are from the devil. What he would do is find something that you did in the so-called past that maybe was wrong, and then get you to fall into it, and then he'll show you a false illusion of a truth about here's what your outcome is going to be. Here's what happened to you. And the moment you start believing all that stuff, you're out of it. It's gone. And then, but what you don't know, your belief is what's going to bring that outcome for you. But if you didn't believe Satan's outcome, it won't come. It will not come, because it's the belief. We live by faith. We live by believing in something. Where there's doubt, we believe in doubt. And whatever we believe in, that's what you identify with, and that's what dictates your life. It can bring on fear. And I notice with Satan's stuff, it always ends up with fear. Fear of failure. It may even start out sweet, like it has no fear, right? But fear of failure, fear of this, fear of what people think, fear of something, outcome, because that's the whole destruction that he gets you to fall into when you believe that. We literally live by faith in something. If you notice in your life, you believe in something, even if it's a lie. You believe in something. You believe you're weak. You believe you're afraid. You believe you're not attractive enough. You believe that you're not skinny enough. You believe that somebody's looking at you. Have you noticed what you believe? We got to pay attention to self so we can get over this. And I'm going to help you today, hopefully, show you where you're going wrong. But it's not good living a life of doubt, huh?
No.
It's a mess. It would drive you to drink. And you say you have doubt. You doubt at times, right?
Yes.
And what caused you to doubt at times?
I would say what life throws at you. You know,
Give me an example.
well, I can't really think of one right now, but
But challenges and
but
things. huh?
challenges.
Yeah.
Correct.
And it will make you doubt that you can overcome them?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Because once you get that doubt, it's hard to get it out of you.
Sure it is, huh?
It's hard to
Once you believe into that lie,
yeah.
it's like you got to wrestle with it to try to get past it.
Right.
You're like boxing.
True.
Do you believe that you are your challenges, your circumstances? Do you believe that that's who you are?
Yes.
You do. And why do you believe that?
Because we do what how can I say, it's up to us to move on forward.
To do what?
It's up to us to move on forward and do the right decisions.
It's up to us.
Yes.
But if we are being, oh, he needs to speak up a little bit. Speak up a little bit. If we are being controlled by something else, what we believe in, how can we move forward if that belief don't allow us to move forward?
To overcome it, to oversee that.
And how should we do that?
And that's the hard part, right?
That's the
there.
part.
That's the
Okay.
hard part.
I love that. You're absolutely right. Have you thought about this before today?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jesus went past a fig tree one day, and the fig tree, they were all hungry. They had been out working. It's like coming home and your wife haven't cooked. And the fig tree was all green and pretty. And they were all hungry, so they ran over to the tree, and there were no figs there. And so Jesus cursed the tree, and it died. Do you believe you have the power to do that?
No.
You know? You don't. Oh, ye of little faith, huh? I appreciate that. Did you know before today that your faith was not really well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it interesting to believe in God and not have faith?
Yes.
Had you thought about that before today? And only I'm asking because I really want you to think on these things. That's why I'm asking. We fellowshipping. It's not a test.
Yeah, it's something we think. I would say I think about almost every night in the sense of what's to think about God and believe in Him, and then why things happen to us.
Yes. Good.
So
And why do you doubt at times?
For the same reason. I mean, sometimes issues, things
Yeah.
that happen, because I feel like no matter how hard you try, something always goes wrong.
Yes.
And I stop and think, is like, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I take care of certain issues? And no matter how hard I try, and I believe in God, I believe in good, and I know that sometimes no matter how bad certain issues get,
Yes.
I still keep saying to myself, I believe, I know things are going to get better, but what do I need to do to make them better? Because
I love
everything I'm
that.
doing does not seem to work.
Yes.
And sometimes things seem to work a little bit, but before I know it, they get worse.
Yes.
And it's like, why? What have I done that
Excellent question.
it never stops,
Yeah.
know? Never stops. It's issues after issues after issues.
Yeah.
And that's when sometimes it's like, okay, is there really a God? I mean, is there really, because no matter what I do, nothing seems to work.
Yes. How many people can relate? It started to make you question God, huh? Like, wow, I'm doing all I can do. Is there really a God? And that's what Satan wants you to do.
Yeah, and then even though sometimes there's certain issues that are bad, and I keep telling myself, okay, I have faith, it's going to get better, it's going to get better. So I try to do certain things, and it's like, it still doesn't get better.
Yes. And so at that point, why don't you just leave it alone?
Because there's certain issues that I feel if I leave it alone, it's going to get 10 times worse.
But it's getting 10 times worse as you're working on it.
Well, I mean, true, but, it's just like, I mean, I know there's a lot of things I can't control.
Are there things you can control?
Yes.
Like what? Uh-huh.
I guess not.
You can't think of one thing that you can control, but yet you're thinking that you can control certain things.
Yes.
But right now you can't tell me one thing that you can control.
Well, I think the only thing I can control is my feelings and faith.
You can control your feelings?
Sometimes I could.
May I just say there's nothing you can control? Nothing.
Okay.
And the sooner you realize that, the happier you will become.
Okay.
It's a egotistical, willful person, whether it's me, you, or anybody else, who think that they can control something. Because just think about it. If you could control something, you would have your world would be perfect. And everything about your world would be perfect. The kids would be tiptoeing through the tulips. The house would be perfect in harmony. The relationships between you and your husband would be perfect. You have all that in control because that's what you want. You want what's best for your children. You would control that and make that be. You don't want to live with anger and reaction to and overreaction to the world. You don't want to hate your enemy, or you don't want to hate folks when they're wrong. But these things happen anyway, even though you try not to do them. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Yeah. We have no control. Now, I know in our fallen state, we like to think that we do. And the more you try to have control, the worse it gets. And then still your ego won't let you realize, wow, I would love to have control. I'm trying to make control happen, and it won't happen. But it'll tell you, try some more. Well, if you do it this way, it's just all set up. It's a lie. You do not have control over yourself or anyone else. Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
Does that feel good to hear that, or a little scary?
A little scary, I guess.
And why is it scary?
I don't know. I think there's certain things that I would like to have control of.
Of course. And what would you like to have control of? We're going to talk to God about it. Maybe He'll do it today for you. He'll give you.
I guess, I don't know. I'm just my kids, not taking completely control, but just certain things that they do.
Right.
I wish that I could control them not to do it.
Right. I understand what you're saying. You're saying there are some things that your kids are doing that you wish somehow or another what you say to them or your action can prevent them from doing it.
Exactly.
That's what you mean. I
Yes,
understand that.
that's what
I think
exactly
most
what I mean.
parents want that.
Yeah.
But have you noticed whenever you try to do it, they get worse when you try to control the situation?
Yes, I've known that to happen, and a lot of people tell me, the more you push certain issues, the more it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I've tried not to. It doesn't matter. It's still, they still do it.
I want to encourage you to relax and let it go.
I know, but sometimes I think it's a little hard.
To relax and let it go?
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
Only because you're seeing the outcome of it.
Right. Yeah. But what you don't know is that once you relax and let it go, then you're going to see how to really deal with it.
Okay.
You're going to see how to deal with it where it'll be effective, it'll be good, and it'll work out well. It really will. But as long as you're pushing it and stressed out and lost in your imagination, you're making all the wrong decisions.
Okay.
It should be good news to know that you can relax and life will work out. You don't have to do all this stuff. That should be good news. That's a sign of love, by the way, that God loves us and He already has it worked out. And so to hear the good news, you don't have to do anything, just go for the ride. That should be like, wow, I love living that way. But I understand, we're going to get you there today, I hope.
Okay.
Wayne, let me first ask, you have doubt at times, right?
Yes.
You do, and why?
Because sometimes things just don't go the way you expect them to go.
Yeah. And why do you have an expectation how they should go?
Well, it's not so much it's like in business, you do all the things you think you're supposed to do that's correct and right, and then sometimes you just don't get any business, and you wonder why, so that causes a little bit of doubt sometimes.
Right. And why do you have an expectation of how things should go in business? Calm down, Rob. He's okay. Look like you're about to attack him. It's okay, buddy.
Well, my expectation comes from that if you do all the right things, things should happen for you.
And so if you're doing the right thing, why not just trust that and let the outcome happen?
I do.
Not if you doubt. And if you have an expectation, then you're definitely going to doubt when it doesn't go the way your expectation says.
Well,
Do you
guess,
think? Oh, go ahead.
I guess sometimes I try to keep things in the moment and just wait for things to happen. And sometimes maybe it just doesn't happen fast enough for me.
Right. Yeah, it's not going God's way, so something's wrong here. You start to doubt it. I understand that, Wayne. I absolutely understand that. But you need to get rid of your expectation. And just do what is right to do and let the chips fall where they may, and it always turns out well. Because if you didn't have this expectation, you can't doubt because it's not, you don't know how it's going to turn out, but you have the patience and the faith to wait and let it turn out. It's just a job. It's not a big deal. And then God, if you had this faith that I'm talking about, this belief, God's going to take care of you anyway. He's going to keep you fat and sassy. You're going to have food on your table. You're going to have a roof under your head, all over your head. All things will be well if you didn't have this expectation. Your business will be fine. And then in those days when you're not getting any work, it could be your moment of growth. Maybe you need to slow down so you can look at yourself a little bit more, draw closer to God or something. It's not a negative, nor is it a positive. It is what it is. But expectation won't let you live that way. Expectation is very disappointing. Have you noticed that? You expect your kids to do well, like what you were talking about, and you feel that if I take care of my kids, I make sure they're educated, I tell them the truth, I expect them to turn out well. Don't you expect that? And then by the time they turn 15, you want to kill them because you did all this stuff for them and the expectation is not working. But if you didn't have that expectation, you can accept what is and never doubt. Here's the deal. What causes us to doubt, I don't doubt now, but believe me, Satan tried to get me to doubt. What causes us to doubt is what somebody mentioned, the ego. Somebody mentioned the ego thing. The ego has made a home inside of you, inside of your physical body. It dwells in your mind and it brings up emotions and you can feel it. It feel pain, it feel good, it feel sorrow, all this stuff, right? And whenever a situation comes, the first thing it does, it gets you to react just like that. Oh, trouble's here. Your world's about to fall apart. And because you have identified with this thing that's made a home inside your physical body and your mind, you think that is you. You really believe that that's you, that's God, that is real, and is not. And so what you find yourself wrestling with that, trying to convince yourself, and the more you try to fight against it, the more you give it power because it talks to you even more so. It throws you one curveball after another one. Every time you think you got the solution there and you calm down a little bit, it'll throw you another curveball to get you to react because you're so identified with that ego nature. That ego nature is what Paul was talking about when he says something has made a home in me and it makes me do the things I don't want to do and prevents me from doing the things that I do want to do. We all want to do well. We want to do good. Most people do. You don't want to hurt other people. You don't want to. You're a Christian. You want to live that Christian life. But you have identified with the nature of Satan. You have identified with him, and he convinces you to do the things you don't want to do. He convinces you to believe the things that you don't want to believe. And when trouble comes, you buckle down trying to fight him. Trying not to go along with him, but go along with him, trying to figure it out. And he's just talking to you and making you feel it. He gives you fear. He's telling you what happened in the past and what's going to happen in the future. Now you're trying to stop that. And because you believe in that, that's your hell. That is not who you are. That's the nature of Satan. That's why nothing good ever comes from it. You got to find that place in your heart. When that challenge comes, you got to find a second of a moment to calm down so you can be still within yourself so that this thing can work out on your behalf, and it will. But the moment you react to it, you start to doubt, then you lose God. He can't help you because now you're with this false God that's made a home. God said that in order to live again, we must be born again, right, in order to live. He's talking about that ego nature that you have identified with. That sounds like your voice gives you the wrong answers. You got to die from that. That's not who you are. You are a spiritual, living being that's here waiting for God to take over. And then once he takes over, he'll guide your path. And then you have faith that can move a mountain. And then whatever comes up against you, even though Satan will try to whisper to you to do something about it, you have the faith to wait, and it will work out. By faith, everything is possible. Nothing is impossible. And the beauty about faith, you don't have to have a plan. It's already worked out, and it is exactly what you want in life. You don't have to have a plan. You don't have to have expectations. You cannot worry. You can't hold a grudge against people who turn on you. You absolutely can't do it. With the employees, you have the know-how and the courage to do what you got to do, because in this other life, there is no fear. It's all belief in God. And you're not in control of that either. You're just living your life, and everything you want is happening. But what you identify with that's made a home in your body is evil. It's the nature of Satan. And there's no love and no truth and no nothing in it. But you so identify with it. And you're not going to be able to detach from it until you can confess your sins. I'm a sinner, and that's what this is talking about. I'm wrong. I am not God. Then you can detach from it, and it'll start to fade away. Then you can live by faith, and whatever you ask, whatever you say, and whatever you do will be yours. Isn't that amazing? But as long as you identify with that nature that speaks to you like that, you're never going to have faith. Your faith is in the wrong thing. I want some feedback about it. Anybody disagree? I want to know. I'm telling you, let's take right here first. This is why God said that you got to get to know yourself so you can see what's really driving you. And people who are angry at you and mad, don't blame them. They don't want to be mad. They identify with the same thing that's made a home in them. They really are. The same thing that's driving you is driving them. Because if it wasn't, they would forgive you. They would love. They would be concerned. But they can't help it. You can't wrestle with this spirit. You got to become aware of it. We are a living being, folks. And he just wants us to live. Like little kids, some of you missing kids, they just live. It is what it is, and they just live. And that's how you're going to become once you realize it. You got to get to really pay attention to yourself, and then you're going to see, wow, all this time I thought I've been in control. I thought that this thing was me, and it's really not. And I've been playing God with my life. You know, I thought that I was making these decisions. I'm God. And that's what repentance is, to realize that you are not God. You're not in control. And then when you can see that, God would allow you to see this other thing that's driving you. And then what's going to happen is that you're going to become the observer of that thing that's not you. He's going to shine the light. He's going to take you out of it, and he'll shine the light on it. You'll become the watcher, the observer, and then it'll start to fade away. It'll just be out there. And when challenges come, they won't impact you, because now you're guided by the light within. And so you won't have to identify with the challenges. You're not your challenges. You are a living being.
I don't know if you can understand this, but what if what you're observing is so horrible that it's hard to watch?
That is good. Just watch it anyway, and you shall repent and overcome it. I know exactly what you mean. But just watch it and be glad that you can see it and do nothing about it, and God will take it away from you. It's a spirit that's made a home, and it lives off your anger, by the way. It lives off your anger, your judgment of yourself and others, your reaction to life. As long as it gets you to go here and there and talk to you and turn like that, you give it life. But if you can just bear it, if you just take the pain of it, it dies. Isn't that amazing? Is that good news or not?
How long does this process take?
I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah, I believe you.
That identity that you are connected with is not God's identity, and it's not yours. It's Satan. It's a spirit that's doing that. That's why it's not working for the good. There is no truth in Satan at all. None. He doesn't have any. So why do you think that's going to work? How good going to come out of something that has no truth in it at all? That's why everything he does is just set you up to fail. Because it's that horrible thing that's made a home in you. It's called sin. It's called ego, and ego is sin. You're so identified with the ego that it's destroying you.
So that thing is ego,
Yes.
not me?
No. Yes, sir. Not you, but it. And it's all ego. Every aspect of it is ego. Even to think that we're doing good is ego. That's ego too. You know something? Every aspect of that thing is ego. But people are so identified with it. I have to overcome that, and I'm overcoming it. I see it all the time. Every aspect is ego. Thank you so much for being with me. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. You could get involved right now by calling 1-800-411-2663, 800-411-BOND.